I would do kind of a chatty, long day in the life with me. If you're into that type of video, welcome. So glad you're here. I am currently packing my youngest's lunch because today they're serving hot dogs and turkey and cheese sandwiches, and gross. Although I love me a hot dog. For me, hot dogs are comfort food. I don't know if I've ever shared it with you guys, but growing up, my mom worked in a 7-Eleven, and back in those days, you could take your kid to work with you. So I've had my share of hot dogs, and you know, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom actually worked 2 jobs. She was at a grocery store and the 7-Eleven, and my dad was always kind of working on the road and putting money into the farmhouse, and there was 3 of us kids, so money was tough, and dinners like hot dogs were it. I even remember like having snacks, and it would be like processed cheese melted into white bread. And I remember my mom pickled boiled eggs too. Anyways, good fun time. You know what? Even though money was rough and we didn't have the best of the best, I didn't know any better. And I have a thought on that actually. I didn't know any better because genuinely I didn't know any better. It was like I watched a whole 3 shows on our little TV in the farmhouse. Didn't have any kids around me to compare life to, and didn't have really anything other than my imagination of what life is and how it should be. And nowadays it's like kids have so much social media in their faces, like these YouTube kids with all these money and abilities, and you know, these public schools with kids wearing nice shoes and already having phones at young ages, and just all of this in their faces. And it's just different. It's different now, to where I literally feel guilty if I make cheap decisions for my family, and I hate that. I hate that absolutely, because as a child I felt loved. I never felt any different. There was a farm girl though that was like a field away that my brother's was friends with her brother, and I remember going to her house and seeing how much she had, and that was like my first moment of comparison, where I was like, wow, she has a trampoline, she has this really nice like tea set, and I think that was the first time I felt jealous a little bit. But literally I knew no better, and I feel like kids these days are just, they are surrounded, they are saturated with things to compare to, and it sucks. Anyways, I was gonna give you guys a little mental health status update. I didn't have a good day yesterday. I had one of those days at work where there was clusters of work and an already very big to-do list. I was coming from a day where I didn't get to check anything off my list, so I ended up working that night to at least check off some of the smaller things to not follow me into the next day. The next day came, and I just felt like I was running. I had interviews to prepare for, and we used to have our HR staff like put the packets together for us, and they don't do that anymore. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or because of their staffing, but it takes a lot of time to print out people's applications, resumes from the system that we have, and then make sure you print out the questions we're going to ask, and make sure that there's a cover letter so that the front desk knows who's going to be there. And you have to make sure everybody that's on the interview panel has their own binders with all the information. And so that took up my morning. I went straight into a huddle, and then after that huddle I just felt like I was getting these clusters of work of like, this person's in my office, they're not feeling well, this person needs me to move a break, front desk is messaging me because of something happening at the front of the lobby, and I'm still trying to attack my to-do list. So I'm like making these little baby steps, but not checking anything off. And it was just like that all day, to where I came home and brought KFC to the family and ended up going to bed right after dinner because I was just overstimulated and feeling a bit sad. Hi, what's up? You want me to make you a bowl of cereal?
I just need a little.
Just a little bowl? Okay, I won't give you too much.
It was a glass of milk.
And a glass of milk. Okay, I'm on it. When I woke up this morning, I kind of feel like I have this filter that I need to remove from the day. I know that if we're gonna have a good day, that's on us. Like, that's on me and my perspective, and I have plenty of things to be happy and thankful for. I have this thing hanging over me where it's like, I know the things from my to-do list yesterday are going to be really hard to get done today because I'm in a stupid meeting all day long and I would rather not. And when I'm in the meetings that I'm in sometimes with like state workers and like those that are directing the boat that we are all on, it can feel very frustrating because their philosophy, hold on. They have this no wrong door, everybody at the table, let's all help philosophy, which sounds great, but literally it would be like being in a surgery where you have like these 8 specialized people in the room and putting the expectation that the entire clinic be in that room so that way the job gets done sooner. But we all know that if an entire clinic was in that room during the surgery, wrong tools could get passed. The person could get sick, so many wrong things that would impact somebody's life could happen. And we all know that that's nonsense. So why can't we see that the same way with our programs? I don't know. So we all know that that concept is nonsense and crazy. And for whatever reason, it's like the state just doesn't grasp it. They're like, we don't want a wrong door. And it's like, you guys, there are repercussions. There are consequences to what we're doing. And it's driving me bananas. And they started doing something yesterday that pushed me over the edge a bit. And I'm like, we had this workaround to protect our cases, to get people like determinations made correctly, so people aren't getting kicked out of facilities, so people are being approved or denied correctly, so that we're not having to go back on cases and tell people, actually, you're not approved because you did X, Y, and Z, and the person that touched your case before didn't ask those questions. And they're just going in and touching cases they shouldn't be touching. So anyways, as you can see, I have a filter today that is a bit dark. And I'm trying to get out of it. My husband and I have been doing these weekly dates, which has been so good for me. But I told him I can't date him tonight. I need to get into a better spot. So I'm hoping tomorrow, like, I get there. But like today, Lord help me. All right, I'm gonna go so I can focus on packing the rest of this lunch, pack my own lunch, and get out the door. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you guys again at the office. Little lesson, little reminder that your children are always listening and believing what you say. Because this morning I was giving our cat a personality, and because she's a cat, I'm always like leaning towards like a negative personality. And Finley was in his room and he looked down at his cat, and she, was sitting there looking annoyed because cats have that look. And he's all, what do you think Kitty's doing? And I'm like, she's just sitting there thinking, this dog is so annoying. It's always wagging its tail, and she's getting lovings, and she doesn't even deserve it. She's such a stupid dog. And he's all, why is Kiki so mean? And I was like, well, honey, it's not probably what she's actually thinking. It's just because she's a cat, and cats have funny personalities, and they always look like they're annoyed. And he's like, oh. Like, somehow I was able to actually read what she was thinking and be accurate in my like thought process. It was just so funny to me. I don't know. I had to share that because it was funny that he just believed that. He believed that Kitty is just so rude. So funny. It's lunchtime. I'm eating my leftover Kentucky Fried Chicken, coleslaw. I know that this isn't for everybody, but I will say a bite of this salty chicken with the sweet coleslaw, they go together. I don't think this is good by itself, but I do think it is good with the chicken. And then a little bit of potatoes and gravy. I posted something this morning on my Instagram about my feelings about Dave Ramsey because I feel like his lessons are so strict that it's kind of like somebody that's going on a diet. Like if they try and follow a regimen that's very strict, it can push them in the other direction. And I just don't agree with him. And I feel like our life isn't guaranteed to be long. And I feel like there are pockets of time where there are opportunities to make memories or splurge on things. And I think that that's okay. And that's very like opposite of Dave Ramsey. And when I posted about that, I got the most biggest, I don't know what the word I got a very interested reply back, and a lot of family, friends, social media buddies responded to me and had varying different feelings. Some of them, you know, are currently following Dave Ramsey. Some of them have used him to kind of build structure, and some of them have picked apart his like concepts and are using pieces of it, and others did it, hated it, and disagree and live differently. And it's just, I don't know, it was really interesting to hear everybody's responses. And I feel like in reading through everything, it changed my perspective a little bit because I see the value in his lessons and understanding that everybody has different lives and values. But to the end of the day, his way of living doesn't mesh with mine, but I can appreciate some of the things that he has to say. So I guess I'm like a pick-aparter. Like I'm somebody that picks, I guess, what they like that Dave Ramsey shares and uses those concepts, and then trashes the rest because it doesn't work for me. Anyways, interesting little bit of interaction today. I came back to my phone after my meeting and I was like, holy cow, there's a lot of responses in my Instagram and my Facebook Messenger. So yeah, anyways, still have a couple hours left of the meeting that I'm in. Fortunately, they've moved the end time from 4 to 2. So I will have 3 hours at the end of the day that I can focus on my to-do list. I have been multitasking a little bit and working on like emails and things like that don't involve me being too distracted from what I'm hearing in the meeting, so I can still take notes. These meetings are always a little bit frustrating because you know, it's decisions that are kind of being shared with you that you can share feedback or you can share concerns, things like that. But it always feels like it just kind of goes into the abyss. They address you in the meeting, but do they change things? Sometimes. Not a lot though. Like they're gonna do a big regional meeting in the peak time of when we're dealing with the unwind of COVID, and I'm like, our office is gonna be so busy, and you guys want to come together and talk about things at that time for an entire day? Okay, cool. Stuff like that don't make no sense. Anyways, I am going to finish my lunch and go about my day, and I'll pick you guys up when I think of something to share. I'm over this day. I'm over this week. Heck, I am over this month. I feel like I've been mentally tapped out every single day for the last 2 weeks, and I'm just over it. So over it. I've got a complicated case to work through tomorrow. I've got to call somebody on. I've got 2 6-month performance reviews, which is kind of a big deal. Like, you write these in-depth reviews about people that goes upstairs into their HR file. I have a couple of reports that I was supposed to run like a week ago to then delegate to staff to work on that I haven't had the time to do. I've got a template to update because a new scenario came into play, and I did get our shared branch email box current today, which feels good. I did that multitasking. But I'm behind again on my personal emails. I have a employee who's going to be out for a while, and they've got tasks that I have to reassign to other people. And I'm in the middle of doing interviews for new staff, which is a whole process and a to-do. And on top of that, it's just been lots of people coming into my office about cases they have, or people they interacted with, safety concerns, or just concerns about different appointments that they just went to where they might actually have a contagious disease that they got in contact with. Okay, that was my 2-minute vent. If you're still here, bless you. Bless you. Now we're gonna switch because I'm ready to be done thinking about work, and I am not going to have a negative evening again where I'm going to bed immediately after dinner. I probably should get my butt to the gym because I haven't gone for like 5 days, but this weather is cold, wet, and I am physically depleted. So it's not going to be today that we get back on that train. It's just not going to happen. But I did want to share with you guys. So I have Safeway here, and I think they have brother, sister companies. Maybe Albertsons is one of them. But I just learned something really cool. On their shopping app, they have a recipe section. And in the recipe section, there's all sorts of recipes. And then in the actual ingredients, they have where you can shop for those items. So it'll have like probably the stuff you don't have in your home checked for you. And then they have a button where you can substitute. So like for me, if I was looking at a burger recipe and I was like, I really would like to have a plant-based patty instead, there's a substitute button. You can click for that ingredient and change it up. And the same goes for all the other ingredients. You can hit substitute and find a brand you like, or just a different version of that ingredient and change it. And it keeps it checked for you. You can uncheck anything you don't need. You can double up things if you're making double the recipe, all of that. And then at the bottom, it has the ingredients that you probably have already in your home that they don't have checked, but you can add to the list. Love it so much. So then I picked 3 recipes from their site. I made a chicken bruschetta dinner. My teenager loved it. The only feedback I have is for some reason my balsamic glaze became solid. And I don't know why that happened because I followed the measurements. Actually, I'm wondering if I didn't double the vinegar. That might have been my mistake. I might have doubled the brown sugar, but not the balsamic vinegar. Anywho's, I had balsamic glaze in my fridge that I was able to pull out and use, so I was fine. Anyways, the recipe turned out very good. The final thing that I was absolutely amazed about is the app tracked the recipes that I bought ingredients off of, and so it had it there on my main page when I logged back into the app. And then following the recipe was amazing because they would have the steps, and then right below, so okay, they would have step 1 would be 1 page on your phone, and then they would have the ingredient measurements down below. So I would read like, I don't know, seasoned chicken breast in this step, and then below it would tell you all the ingredients in that step that you need. And then the coolest part is they realize that you would be, hold on. Sorry, my kiddo just called me and said, "Can you beep my phone?" Apparently he lost his phone again. The coolest, like, very intuitive thing that this app does is you can hold your hand right over your phone like this, and then when you remove your hand, it moves to the next screen, knowing very well that if you're in the kitchen, you probably have goopy fingers and they don't want you touching your phone. And I was just like shook. I was like, this is the coolest freaking app that I have used when it comes to ingredients. And just wondering, have you guys used it before or looked into like the recipe applications on your shopping apps and see if they have anything like that? Because I cook sometimes off my phone if I'm using Pinterest. I go back and forth. I have moments where I'm like, I'm just using my cookbooks, and other times I'm like, nothing in the cookbooks looks good, I want to use other things. And just, this is another outlet for finding recipes that I absolutely love. So anyways, tonight I'm making a lentil bean quesadilla that's got spinach, smoked Gouda, I can't remember what else is in it, and then you dip it in a onion dip, and it just sounded so unique and different that I was like, yeah, I want to make that. So I'm going to share that with you guys tonight and let you know how it tastes, because I'm very curious if it's any good. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, if we get a couple good recipes out of this, and this is like a really easy way to meal plan. It's almost like those meal subscription kits where you don't really have to think. You do. I mean, you still have to prepare the food, but the fact that I don't have to think about the ingredients and just can kind of scan over them and say, oh, I don't like that, and have that control. I don't know. It blew my mind, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it. So, okay. I'm gonna go home. Thank you for talking to me. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling less elevated and feeling more like myself. So this was good. Thank you for being here for me. Okay, so in tonight's dinner, we've got tortillas. We have some sun-dried tomato pesto, 2 cans of lentils. We've got smoked Gouda, sliced cheese, baby spinach, salt, pepper, and extra virgin olive oil. And it's pretty much as you would expect. You're going to layer all these things into a quesadilla, and then I'll share with you guys if it's any good. I'm very interested. Okay, step 1 had me rinse and dry 2 cans of lentils. Put half a cup of that pesto, which I ended up putting the whole thing in there because there's probably like 2 tablespoons over. Excuse me. And 1/4 a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 a teaspoon of pepper. Next is having me take these, stack them up, and then cut them into quarters. What? You're sitting there just whining. You're not going to get more TREATs, not at all. It's not going to happen. Rosie knows. She's like, wait, what? Rosie knows. Kitty's like, what's going on here? You need to let it go. Rosie's like, I told you. What, now it's you? Now you have something to say? Mm-hmm. Your little possum cat. Okay, I was going to show you guys the layering of this. There's cheese. There's lentils. There's spinach. Cheese again. Fold it, and then we cook it like this. So I'm going to get some olive oil heated up in here. Get this going, and then I'll do a little taste test with this onion dip and tell you guys if it's good. Even though my husband is here staring at me before everybody's at the table, staring at me weirdly, we're gonna try this together. So Safeway app, don't let me down. Dip. This feels hot. It doesn't suck. So, it passes. Okay, family verdict on the dinner. Didn't even have the 7-year-old try it because I know it wouldn't have been for him. The 13-year-old tried it and went, but he ate the entire piece of it. So, I think he said that what he liked the most was the actual onion dip. My husband ate it, he didn't complain, but his favorite part of the dinner wasn't even the actual quesadilla. I made chicken apple sausages in the air fryer just to make sure everybody got full, and that was his favorite. And those are really good. If you haven't tried them, they're very breakfasty, but very good. And I did also put just regular cheese and salsa quesadillas on the tables for the boys, which is mostly what the older one ate. The little one tried to eat it, and he just doesn't like quesadillas. I don't know what it is about it. He's just not a fan of them. So I'm currently putting together a Dave's Killer Bread bagel with some cream cheese toasted out of the toaster. And I'm ensuring that that kiddo gets full. Although he did have a sausage. He ate the whole chicken apple sausage, no problem. But I don't mind doing it because it just takes a couple minutes to do. So, yeah, that is dinner. I really liked dinner. I guess I shouldn't say I really liked it. I just liked it. Like it isn't a repeat dish necessarily for me, especially with how long it took to make that many. But it has some pretty okay ingredients in it that I feel really good about. And it's gonna make a dandy leftover lunch tomorrow, so it's all good. For the rest of the evening, I actually kind of want to upload this YouTube video to my personal channel because that sounds really fulfilling and personal and good for me. And then get cozy on the couch while I do that and drink the rest of my wine. I don't normally drink wine, but I got a bottle for Valentine's Day, and I had 2 glasses left, and my husband graciously poured them for me tonight because he could tell that I'm having a rough week and that I needed it, and he was right because I feel much more relaxed and less tense, so he knows. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and letting me vent and just share what's on my heart and my mind. Sometimes I get in my mind about things, but I feel like I share things in a way that's fair, that I'm not telling you guys too much, but that I'm also being incredibly human. And I don't have anybody to tell these things to because, you know, all of my friends are, you know, people that work at a different level than me, and so I have to be careful about what I share and how I present myself, and it's a really hard thing. And my husband, I mean, bless him, he listens to me, but there's only so much that I feel like I'm willing to put on him. Here you go, pumpkin. And this just felt like the right outlet today for me to just talk and say what's on my heart and my mind. And I just appreciate you guys for letting me do that. So until next time, when I feel like doing another personal share. Take care, love always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.